In this step, we will add our tone and manner keywords. So let's start by using the select tool, and I'm going to go ahead and select all of the layout elements other than the masthead, the headline up here, and I'll just hold the shift key and use my right arrow, and I'm going to move these over like so to give us a little more room over here. All right, and now why don't we slightly move our elements up, and that should be good. Now let's go to our layers, and we will create a new layer, and we'll call our new layer keywords. And then let's go ahead, and I believe I have my folder here, so we'll go to the root folder where we are holding all the files for the exercise, and I placed all of my elements that I'm going to be using inside of the layout in the sketchbook resources folder. So let's open up, and here are my keywords, and likely you may or may not have keywords that are short phrases like mine. Mine are a bit on the verbose side, and I want to simplify them. And if you need to do the same because of limited space in your layout, that's fine. So as an example, I have, let me move this over where I can scale it. I have simplified my keywords. So let's just grab our tone keywords and our manner keywords. I'm just going to copy these, and then I'll go back, make sure I'm selecting my keywords layer, and then I'll grab the text tool, just drag out a text box and paste. Now let's go ahead and zoom in. So I'll just get my select tool so I don't accidentally select any of my type, or while I'm using any of the key commands to zoom in or zoom out, I don't mess up my type. So let's go ahead and zoom in. And the first thing we'll do is we'll go back and get our type tool, and we will select all of our type, and we're going to set our type to Roboto. And then I'll go ahead and set my tone keywords to bold, and the same with the manner keywords. Good. Now, what I'm going to do is first, let's get rid, you may not have, depending on how you copy pasted your keywords, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the hard return. There is a return, there is a hard return, but I'm getting rid of the extra one with both the tone keywords and the manner keywords. Okay? And what we will do now is go ahead and adjust this space using our space after instead of using returns on the keyboard. You want to use your space after, space before, and not rely on returns themselves to create space in your type layout. All right, so I'm going to click right here in front of the V. I'm going to try this here, and we want space before. So I'm going to find my paragraph info here, properties I should say, And here is my space before. And let's go with 12 pixels. And we'll do the same for our manner keywords. So I could just type in 12 and not continue to click here. It's just, I have a habit of using the little arrows. Now, let's select our type. And I should have done this, we can still do this all at once. Now, our keywords are 12, which, as far as 12 pixels, we're probably fine with that. I may need to drop them down a little, but I will go ahead and adjust my tracking. This will make the column just a bit more narrow, which might give me a little more space. So I'm going to try -10. I don't want to overdo this. You want to be careful. So there's -25. I'm just going to look at the text and make sure the individual letters, the combinations of letters, that none appear to be too close. You don't want them squished together, but there's nothing wrong with using some negative tracking just to bring your characters together a little bit more. I'm going to change this to 20 instead of the -25. All right, then I'm going to select first this group of keywords, and let's just adjust the leading, the space between each baseline of text. And I'm going to increase mine to 18. And this just opens up a little bit of space between each of the words in what is basically a list. But we're not using a bulleted list, an ordered or an unordered list, either with bullets or with numbers. We're just allowing each word to be on its own line. All right, so 18. Let's go ahead and select the other keywords, and we will match the space. And now this space here is probably also with hard returns, like so. So I'm going to get rid of those hard returns, and again I'll use space before, and let's increase that space. So let's try 12 pixels first. And what's happening is we're creating two visual groups. We're creating this group and this group. And this space here, after my manner keywords and the first keyword in the list, you'll note that this space is greater than this space. And that really is visually kind of confusing because we're not sure if this goes with this stuff up here. It doesn't seem to visually go with what's down here. So we need to do potentially a couple of things. We might close this space and this space up a little, and then we have to increase this space. So let's go ahead and click at the beginning of the manner keywords, and let's increase to 24. Okay, now I really don't want any more space here, but visually this space for this group of information, okay, is still a bit too similar to what's happening here. So I'm going to click in front of the A, and I can't remember which one. Okay, so the space before. Let's change, I'll click here in front of the A in my first keyword, and I'm going to reduce the space. And I'll go to 6, and we'll do the same up here we'll reduce to 6. All right, that's a little better. That's still a nice bit of space between what is our subhead here and our list. Now this space, this space right here and the space between each of the words, it's not terrible, but if I were to do anything, I'm going to leave it alone, but if I were to change something, I would select my list and I would reduce the space, the leading, and even 1 pixel makes a difference. Okay? Now, I'm going to undo that. I'll just do a Command Z. So I'm going to leave this formatting the way it is. I will do one more thing, and that is I'm going to select all of my keywords and the heads for the keywords, and we're going to change the alignment. And I'm going to change the alignment to align right. And now let's go ahead and deselect. I can actually move this up just a little. And then we're going to zoom out. And one thing you can do is Command 0 on your keyboard will zoom you, or I should say fit your layout into your window. So Command minus, you can zoom out. Of course, it zooms out a whole lot more this way. Command plus, and to zoom in, and Command 0 to fit your layout to the available space. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, let's select our keywords, and actually this space here is a little tight. I'm probably going to go with something more like what we see here between this text and the image. So I'll just hold the Shift key and press the left arrow, and then I'll deselect just to get a visual. I believe I'm going to go back just a little bit. So I'm just going to use the right arrow and just nudge this back a few pixels. And then I'm going to hold the Shift key and for the moment move this down some. Okay. Now I might come back and make some subtle little changes when we do one of the last steps. Okay, but before we do that, I'm going to go ahead and now add color chips to represent the color. Now this space right here is 24 pixels. So I want to create about 24 pixels here, and then my keywords will be up above. Sorry, my colors. So I'm just going to save a little bit of time, I'll just use the text tool and select, and we'll copy. Then let's zoom in a little bit, get our text tool, and then go ahead and paste. And we'll just change this to something like my colors. Like so. And I'm just going to use a guide like this. And then move our text over so we have the same alignments. And then for right at the moment, I'll just use the Shift key and I'll move this text up. And then let's go ahead for the moment and hide our guides. Probably not a bad idea to save if we haven't saved lately. Now I'm going to use this artwork or these images I brought in a long time ago for my color chips. So let's just, you could use any shape you like. I'm just going to use an ellipse. I'll click and drag an ellipse. And I'm looking at this 36 by 36 pixels is what I see here. That's fine. It changed a little bit. So let's just pick this back to 36 by 36. I do not want a stroke, so no stroke. I do want a fill. And I believe I had the orange. So there's the orange. Then I'm just going to deselect for a moment. Whoop. Didn't mean to do that. I meant to get the select tool. I'm going to select this color chip, move it over, and you'll see, even though I don't have the guides up here, the program's trying to help me out with this alignment. And I'm going to move my color chip up. Now, this should move usually at 1 pixel at a time. And I believe we changed this to, I can't remember now, but I think it was 6. So let's just bring this down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or maybe it was 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 again. So whatever this space is here, I want to try to visually create that same space here. All right. I'll go ahead and move this type up a little bit. Now I'm going to select my circle here, my ellipse. I'll hold the Option key, and you'll notice that the cursor changes to a double arrow. This allows us to do a copy, a drag copy. So I'm going to continue to hold the Option key down, click, hold, begin to drag, and then hold the Shift key and drag over like so. Okay? And I'll go ahead and move this back and just get them to butt up to each other like so. And then we'll do this one more time. So we'll select, hold the Option key, begin to drag, hold the Shift key, and then we'll move our ellipse back. Now this one will be, let's go to our fills, and I believe I created the blue, but I never really created that silverish gray. Now I had this gray from our headline background, and it's probably close enough. So I could grab this and use this gray again. All right, so now I'll hold the Shift key, I'll select just this circle or ellipse, hold the Shift key, and move this one over. Now what I want to do is select, and we're going to move these down. And we could use a shape or we could use guides, but at this point I'm just going to visually balance this area to this area. And we're pretty close there. I might leave a little extra because these visually have a lot more weight than this text does. So we'll leave it like that. All right, let's go ahead and do Command 0, and we will save. And that should complete all of our content. We're going to do a couple of last little modifications, and we'll do those in the next video.